tools. So that's why, Melanie and I have our own Macs. We buy our own software. We do those kind of things. Aside from those standard Mac software, Melanie, is there anything that you like to use personally or professionally that you feel can be helpful to just kind of mention to bring to attention of our students?
I was just thinking of some other sort of multimedia type software. Certainly PowerPoint Producer. I actually think there are better ways of going around creating audio, video files and things, but I know a lot of schools, you're fairly limited, or, budget is a huge issue. And there is Microsoft PowerPoint has an extension software called PowerPoint Producer, which enables you to make audio video files. Perhaps you have a PowerPoint presentation and then you can run an audio video track with it. It's pretty simple to use, and I'd certainly encourage you to have a look at it and check it out. That's certainly something that I know the nursing department uses heavily here, and I've used a lot in the past. As I said, I'm leaning towards other Mac softwares primarily to solve this issue, because PowerPoint Producer can be a bit tricky at times. As Bob said, obviously the big three, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, as he said, I use them daily and you can't really escape that. Really familiarize yourself with Microsoft Outlook as well. It's surprising, how integrated your webmail and things like that will need to be in your office life. So definitely get familiar with all the different kinds of mail programs that are out there. I know a lot of the schools use Lotus Notes and AmiPro, and they're not that dissimilar to Word and things like that. Again, they're all essentially, just word processing software. So just familiarize yourself with what's out there, I think is the biggest key. I can't think of anything else like Bob, anything that's sort of out of the norm. I would tend to use my Mac, so
Right.
he's covered most of that software.
But the nice thing about the world is that there's a large group of people who believe that you shouldn't have to pay for everything that you use, which kind of causes us to touch base with this topic of open source software, which is software that people have written that you yourself can take and to use for free. One of the big competitors to both the Mac suite of Office tools as well as the Microsoft suite of Office tools is this wonderful set of programs called OpenOffice. And OpenOffice will run on either your Mac or your PC or Linux, which again is an alternative operating system, which does almost all the same functionality as Microsoft Word. It opens the same type of documents, those things like that. So obviously software is something that you have to explore. There's also a tremendous amount of range of software for education-specific needs. Reader Rabbit software, for math, for reading, for all those kind of base level things, all the way from preschool up through even some high school issues that Reader Rabbit makes. There's things like Leapfrog, Learning Pad, a whole myriad of things. And so don't be afraid to explore technology, especially software, because it's something that you're going to be using all the time. Whether it's for yourself to accomplish the work that you need, Blackboard again is a necessary evil. It's a software that Melaine has to understand and support, that our instructors have to understand and support, and students have to understand and support. So whenever you're choosing a piece of software, make sure you kind of keep all your audiences in mind. So we'll kind of use that to wrap up software for right now, and we'll touch base a little bit about this upcoming learning block, which is about media. Elaine, what are some areas, general topic areas that we mean when we say media?
Oh, no, you're putting me on the spot. Oh gosh, I can't even remember what this one was about. Our media aspects are things like is this our hardware? And no, is that next learning block? Oh, see, I'm so consumed with grading at the moment. I haven't even thought about our media aspect yet.
Okay. When we're talking media, we are talking pictures. We're talking
Oh,
movies.
that's right. This is our camera project. Gotcha.
All right. So if that sparks your brain, I'll let you go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So as Bob said, this is sort of everything that focuses around, using digital media. So our digital cameras, even your phone, has a digital camera built in that you can then download onto your computer. This is where our software also comes into it, things like Photoshop and, how we can then manipulate that media. And how can you use, video, and how can you use cameras? How can you use those kinds of digital media within your classroom technologies?
Absolutely. Again, what part does music play in your classroom? What part do movies play in your classroom? What part do things like overhead projectors and slides and some of that old school technology, records? We all had the experience of being in class at some point. Well, maybe at this point we're old enough that you didn't. But back in the day, we had these little these little film strip projectors, where we'd play a cassette tape along and it'd beep and you'd advance to the next frame kind of thing. But obviously we've come a long way for that. And so this learning block, we really want to explore how can you use medium, which is music, pictures, movies, those sorts of aspects for basically all your sensory inputs for students in the classroom. So it'll be an interesting opportunity for us to take a look and to see what we can come up with. Again, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact myself or Melaine. Preferably contact both of us at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. If you can continue to email both of us, that's really helpful.
Right. Again, here's a good example. As you can see, my office does not look that gray or have large pictures like that. It's actually because I'm at home today, visiting with a friend, and so I'm not always accessible. And Melaine might be busy answering 1,000 phone calls about why did Blackboard not do what it was supposed to do today. And so there's things that I need to pick up for her as well. So if you can just continue to email both of us when you contact us, that makes sure that your questions are being answered as quickly as they can, and that you didn't ask me if you could get a pass on your test, and then Elaine's like, wait a minute, so and so didn't take their test. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. I told them they could forget it. So make sure you continue to stay in contact with both of us. Again, for your learning block assignments, which will be due at the end of this week, it's important, let me say it again for you, it's important that you submit those through Blackboard. One of you was kind enough to crash my email by sending me, 16 megs of files. And don't get me wrong, it was wonderful, but obviously that's a lot to kind of push around when you've got 24 students.
And I think actually most of you, because I had actually added the assignment feature sort of kind of at the end of Learning Block 1, just because I wanted to get it in there. And even though a lot of you had emailed us with your papers, you then turned around and submitted it through Blackboard. So even though it wasn't necessary for the first one, most of you did it. So I appreciate that. And that means there's no excuse because you all know how to do it. So.
Right. Super. So again, that's what we have. We're having a good time so far. We're enjoying exploring technologies for ourselves, and we're going to roll out some information probably later this week or next week about what we specifically want you to do for your media project or your special one, and we're excited about that as well because that'll use some aspects of both our online technology, our software, and then media. So as you can see, we've built this class in kind of a very logical way so that you can see how the pieces fit together. We're having a good time. You guys are doing awesome, and hopefully you're like, whew, I'm not sweating so much for this class. I'm gonna pass after all, and it'll be all right. Elaine, any parting words before we go?
I don't think so. Just keep up the great work. You guys are doing a good job, so
Absolutely.
I'm really enjoying it.
All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later.